Hello students, good time to all. I am Chandan Khan Pradhan. Welcome to YouTube channel Chandan Physics. In this video, we are going to discuss moment of inertia of a flywheel. Let's begin. What is a flywheel? A flywheel is a heavy wheel which is capable of rotation about a horizontal axle mounted on ball bearing to minimize friction. Nearly whole of its mass is concentrated on its rim to increase its moment of inertia, as a result of which it has large amount of kinetic energy of rotation when mounted on the shaft of the engine. Look here what it say. It is a heavy wheel. It is a heavy wheel which is capable of rotation about a horizontal axis. This one is the horizontal axle. Mounted on a ball bearing. There are so many balls are connected to minimize the friction. Nearly whole of its mass is concentrated on its rim to increase the moment of inertia. As we know, the moment of inertia is directly proportional to the mass. Since its mass increases, that's why the moment of inertia increased. As a result, it has large amount of kinetic energy. The expression for that of kinetic energy is equal to half I omega square, that is the kinetic energy is directly proportional to the moment of inertia. Since its moment of inertia increases, that's why the kinetic energy also increases. When that flywheel is mounted on the shaft of that of engine. This is a basic structure of that of flywheel. This one is a horizontal axle. Now, to find out the moment of inertia of flywheel, its axle is mounted on ball bearing so that it is a conventional height from that of ground. Let me choose. Let that one is the ground, and that flywheel is at a conventional height from that of ground. A small peg P is fixed. Look at the figure. P stands for a small peg. A small peg is that of P is fixed at the suitable position on the axle. A loop at one end of the fine cord is attached to that of peg, and the cord is wound several times As we see in the figure, the cord is wound at several times around the axle carrying a mass m. That cord is wound several times carrying a mass m. It has mass m. At one end of that of cord, one end of that of cord is fixed at the peg and another one is attached with a mass m. Look the figure. When the mass m is released, it falls vertically down under the influence of gravity, and so the cord unwinds. This cord unwinds and the wheel starts rotating. Let the distance in between the ground and that of axle of the wheel, let we can say h be the height or the vertical distance through which the mass falls before the cord leaves the axle, that is the distance s. Then the gravitational potential lost by that of mass we can write the gravitational potential lost, potential energy, gravitational potential energy lost by the mass due to the mass is equal to m g h. M is that of mass, g is the acceleration due to gravity, h is that of height from that of ground to that of axle of the wheel. This gravitational potential energy is converted partly into kinetic energy of translation of the mass m and partly into the kinetic energy of rotation of the flywheel, and some of the used up to the doing work against the friction. That is, this gravitational potential energy that is lost due to that of mass m is used in three types of energies, like first one is that some amount of energy is used to convert that of translational kinetic energy, and also another one is that is the rotational kinetic energy, and last one is the work done against that of friction. We discuss it. That is, this used as the kinetic energy of translation of mass m is equal to half mv square, half mv square. M is the mass, v is the linear velocity at which the mass falls to that of ground. Again, the kinetic energy of rotation of flywheel is equal to half I omega square, where I is the moment of inertia of that of flywheel about that of axle, and omega is the angular velocity at which the axle rotate. Now the gravitational potential energy is used in kinetic energy translation of mass and kinetic energy of rotation of flywheel. and another type of energy lost, that is, let W is the work done against friction, and N is the number of rotations of the flywheel before the cord leaves the axle. Therefore, we can say the total work done against friction that is the number of rotations of the flywheel before the cord leaves the axle into the work done against the friction, that is the total work done performed by that of due to the friction. Therefore, we can write the gravitational potential energy is used in three cases, 1, 2 and 3, that is the kinetic energy of translation of mass m plus kinetic energy of rotation of flywheel plus final one, that is work against friction, that is the gravitational potential energy lost due to that of mass mgh is used in that of three cases, that is kinetic energy of translation of mass m, kinetic energy of rotation of flywheel and work done against friction. That's why mathematically we can write how we mathematically treat it. Gravitational potential energy, that is mgh is equal to kinetic energy of translation of mass, that is half mv square, where v is the velocity, linear velocity of that of mass. Kinetic energy of rotation of flywheel, that is half I omega square. I is the moment of inertia of that of flywheel about that of axle, omega is the angular velocity, plus work done against friction, that is n w, or mgh is equal to half, in place of v I can write r omega, v is equal to r omega. This is the relation in between linear velocity and angular velocity, that is m r square omega square plus half I omega square plus n w. Let it as equation 1. But when the mass gets detached from the axle, then the flywheel slowly comes to rest due to the friction. On its bearing, and let it makes small n be the number of rotation before coming to rest. Look here, in that of case we take capital N is the number of rotation of the flywheel before the cord leaves the axle. Here small n is the number of rotation before coming to rest. Hence the kinetic energy of rotation of that flywheel is used to do work against friction. That's why we equate these two equations, that is half I omega square is equal to n w, not omega, that is n w, or w is equal to half I omega square divided by n. This is nw, small n. As you take small n, and it's w divided by n. Equation 2, using equation 2 in equation 1, we have, that is mgh is equal to half m r square omega square, half m r square omega square plus half I omega square plus n w. N in place of w I can write half I omega square divided by n, small n, or mgh is equal to half m r square omega square plus half I omega square plus half n by n I omega square, or mgh taking half as common, m r square omega square plus I omega square plus n by n I omega square, or multiplying 2 mgh is equal to m r square omega square plus I omega square plus n by n I omega square, or 2 mgh minus m r square omega square is equal to, here I omega square plus n by n I omega square, or 2 mgh minus m r square omega square is equal to taking omega square I omega square as common, 1 plus n by n. We have to find what is I. I is equal to 2 mgh minus m r square omega square divided by omega square whole into 1 plus n by n. Let it as equation number 3. Now the angular velocity of the flywheel is omega when the cord leaves the axle at that case the angular velocity will be the omega, but due to friction it comes to rest after making small n number of rotations in certain time, let t. So for uniform force of friction during this time, the average velocity of the wheel is equal to, that is omega plus 0 divided by 2, initial final divided by 2, that is omega by 2. But this average angular velocity should be equal to two pi n divided by t. As it is rotated, for a single rotation it will be take 2 pi radian. For that of n types of rotations it will be 2 pi n, and the average time will be divided by t. As single covered in the time t is 2 pi n, for single coverage it will be take 2 pi n time, that is why the average time will be 2 pi n divided by t. Then omega by 2, that is the average angular velocity, is equal to 2 pi n divided by t. The average angular velocity should be equal to this much, which implies omega will be 4 pi n divided by t. Let equation number 4. Using that value, using equation four, in equation 3 we use the value of omega, that is 4 pi n by t, in that of equation, the expression for that of I, that change to I is equal to 2 mgh minus m r square omega square divided by omega square whole into 1 plus n by n, or I is equal to m omega square 2gs divided by omega square minus r square, taking m omega square as common, divided by omega square 1 plus n by n, or I is equal to m omega square cancel out. In place of omega square we put that of value of omega, that will be changed to m whole into 2 gs t square divided by 16 pi square n square minus r square whole divided by 1 plus n by n. Finally, I is equal to m whole into 2, that is 18, that is g s t square divided by 8 pi square n square minus r square divided by 1 plus n by n. This is the required expression of the moment of inertia of the given flywheel. So, with the help of this video lecture, we understand the moment of inertia of a flywheel, how we calculate what is a flywheel. This one is the figure of a flywheel. What is peg, horizontal axis, ground, the height, mass, and what happens, the gravitational potential energy lost, and this energy used in that of three conditions as translational kinetic energy of rotation, and finally the energy lost due to that of friction. And mathematically putting all these, we also define what is that of energy lost due to the friction. We introduce what is capital N, then what is small n, now how this equal to this term, and mathematically we introduce I, and again a substitution made by using this concept, the average angular velocity concept, and what should be the time taken to this to achieve, then a small modification to that of what is omega in terms of n and t, and using this finally we find out the moment of inertia of that of flywheel. So, with this useful and informative notes, let me wind up this session. Thank you.